From I was very young, I premeditated that name. So whatever company I have, I'm going to call it Rêve. Late Honorable Edward Seaga's wife, his second wife, she was the one I used to supply her store because our business model was we make the stuff, we supply the stores, and so I was always fascinated by people like going crazy over the stuff. And she said to me, you need your own space. Your brother is too talented to be just selling in other people's spaces. And I was like,
I was gonna ask about that.
Yeah, like we can hold space in that place, you know, unapologetically. So
how was that experience though, New York?
For me, it's mind blowing.
Yeah.
When we, you know, the thing was young, you used to watch people on TV
New
like
York Fashion Week.
and we used to come across people like Kelly Rowland, who would want stuff for us, you know. Mia Long. I mean, these are people you watch on TV, you never know.
Yeah, they would
right?
wear your jewelry.
It's like Janet Jackson, you're just like,
what?
It feels like a dream. It definitely feels like Rêve.
Because I'm looking at that piece on your finger.
Yeah.
You see that?
Yeah.
Those are nails.
Yeah.
How you came up with that?
You know, when my student did this. So I lecture part-time at the Monday.
Yeah. But so next New York Fashion Week, Fabenelle and myself, because we're wearing these
man,
you can just take us and
they could extend the invitation.
I've always believed in the power of mentorship. So someone had pointed us in the direction of JBDC and JamPro.
Yes.
And it started from there. I got, you know, real hands-on help. And then now fast forward, we have Michael Leachin in our corner and Butch Hendrickson.
Coming to the pantomime was almost like creme de la creme. Like, you know, it is the...
But you started on the stage, you know, Duane.
Yes.
Schoolers, I think it was.
Oh,
was that?
Hilarious. I love everything.
Duane, you were a kid, you were a student.
But you never have much to say. But
No,
it was so hilarious.
Yeah, so funny. Who is more likely to cry and be emotional during a movie? I thought it would have been Duane. Creative.
Right.
Because you know volleyball.
You
feel it.
Football man.
Both of us guilty of that.
Cue the drama.
Lights, camera,
Theater Talk.
Welcome back to another episode of Theater Talk. I am your fabulous host, Fabenelle Williams,
And Latoya Newman.
yes. And today we're stepping into the world where metal, stone, fabric, and fantasy shake hands.
Yeah.
Our guests are the creative forces behind Rêve Jewellery and Accessories. Yes, a Jamaican brand known for handcrafted, design-forward pieces that blur the line between art and everyday wear. That's all.
Yeah.
So joining us are Teasea Bennett, the CEO and co-founder, the visionary driving Rêve's growth, global reach, and brand story, and Duane Bennett, COO, master goldsmith, and designer, whose creativity stretches beyond jewelry into the theatrical world.
Yes.
As a set and costume designer with the Pantomime Company, together they don't just make accessories. No. They build wearable art and immersive worlds, proving that design isn't just something you see. It's something you experience. Yeah? And tell them a secret.
So today, we're talking craft, culture, theater, and the business of beauty with minds behind Rêve Jewellery and Accessories. And of course, we're sponsored today by Rêve Jewellery.
That's right.
We're cute.
That's right. Hi guys, how wanna do?
Hi, we're great.
Thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for coming. Whose idea was Rêve?
After the introduction, you can just leave right
We said everything.
Well, Rêve, when we started, even we grew up in a home where our parents had small businesses, so we've always I can speak and I know freely for doing as well. We've always had this idea of being entrepreneurs ourselves. We just never imagined that we'd work together. But I'm bilingual, so French is my second language, and when I fell in love with that language, and just the lineage of our family, like my grandmothers on both sides would talk about dreams and stuff like that. So Rêve is taken from the French verb rêver, to dream. And so from I was very young, I premeditated that name. So whatever company I have, I'm going to call it Rêve, because I would just spend days daydreaming about it.
So we interrupt this episode to big up our title sponsors, the Pantomime Company. And we're reminding them to come out to the show.
Yeah.
Big Yard Vibes.
We're not sooner there yet. And now sit well with me.
Yeah.
Every weekend, Saturday, Sunday, 2 p.m., 4:30.
On a Sunday. Yeah.
Little theatre.
And we're showing every weekend. Please, guys, come
Oh,
out.
it's going for March.
It's a great show.
Yeah.
Looking forward to see you there.
That's so inspiring.
Deep. Yeah, so and Duane has always been my quirky little brother that's always doing something unique and unusual. I just never imagined that we'd work together. So fast forward, I had gotten out of school, out of UE, I had a job in France, and my motivation was to perfect my second language.
Yeah.
And while I was there, I fell in love more with the arts, which was a big thing in our home anyway. But Daddy always patronized people on our way to the country or stop and buy art and craft. We have pieces in our home that my dad would buy from people that would paint on the roadside. That was a big thing, like in New Kingston, people just paint these funny, special looking art. My dad would collect. My dad always had an appreciation for that, and being kids, being exposed to that kind of a thing, going through Fern Gully, seeing the funny looking carvings. We still have carvings in our home. Our dad would commission people to build like our dining room set. Like he's always really had a pride in working like the community and stuff. And so we grew up with that kind of exposure and that kind of what would I say, like appreciation for the arts and for our culture. It's always been embedded in us. So we're going to Westmoreland or Manchester. It takes us them never have the highway. That take us 5 hours. Imagine being kids like, oh my God.
And every time it
stop every second. So we're not reached till night in our bedroom. But it's always so fun because we're getting mangoes, we're getting pepper swims, or we're buying art and craft. It was always an experience, always a joy. So I think it really influenced us without us realizing. So I don't know.
So at what point when you guys started the business, at what point did you say, but we can take this globally? At what point did that happen?
I mean, when I started Edna Manley, I knew I always wanted to do the art. Always loved the art. Whether it was performance, visual.
Yeah.
And I think jewelry for me sum up everything. I could do painting with jewelry.
Yeah.
It was very hands-on, it was three-dimensional. So my practice and the love for fashion, jewelry was the right place for it. Yeah. And when we first started the business, our first fashion show, we did Macy's. I was interested in buying instruments, and that's when we knew this can take off globally.
But even before going there, I think what happened, I think you should really talk about the birth of it, because Duane had gotten a part scholarship out of high school to go abroad, and he turned it down to do art, and that was our first time even convincing our parents that, because my mother was very, because my mother was like, but artists don't make money, we're not
I think we all got that. I think we all got that. Acting, you won't make money from acting.
And I was like, my thing was, thank God I had a little respect with them, because I was like, you guys have poured so much into us, and even me choosing to go to London and France before I was like 19, 20 years old, traveling to these countries by myself. And I was like, if you have enough faith to believe that I could have done that, I think you should trust us with this. And my dad is a little bit more optimistic. So what I always like with our family, we'll talk about stuff, we'll laugh about things, and my dad was like, well, only young, so if anything happens, we're still there for you. And I'm like, Daddy. And I was like, Daddy, exactly. I was like, my thing is it's best for us to try now when we're young, when we have less responsibilities. I think our blessing was that we had time we had the currency of youth, and I'm like, let us do it now when we're young, and so if we fail, we have less to lose, right? And so they bought my sales pitch. I was naturally a salesperson without realizing that, right, Duane? So I convinced them to make Duane give up the scholarship and go to Edna, and I was like, thanks for trusting me with this, and my first job from France, they saw the marketing in me, because I was like, I'm not a marketer, but I got employed for that. And I was Duane chose jewelry as an elective. As he said, he was enjoying the freedom of it. And I wore a bubblegum brooch that he sculpted with metal and gum and all kind of stuff. I thought it was so beautiful. And I think my eye at the time, not realizing, was a buyer. I was like, this is really unique. And I love how it helped to express this simple outfit I was wearing to work. And there was a lady on the property, and she offered me 100 US at the time to buy 3 of them, and I was like, what? I was so excited. I said to my brother, I said, Duane, I called him the day, I said, Duane, I have a proposal for you. I was like, a woman just offered me $100 to make you make a bubblegum brooch for her, like 2 of them or something. I said, I think Rêve's supposed to be you and I working together.
Yeah.
Do you want to do this? I can be your manager. I was like Julian Fong.
So he said,
What the name of the cartoon I love? He said, let me be the king. I was like, he's like, yeah, sure, you can manage and I'll make it. And so the concept started there, and I started liaising. I've always believed in the power of mentorship. Yeah. So someone had pointed us in the direction of JBDC and Jampro.
Yes.
And it started from there. I got, real hands-on help, and I reached out to lecturers that I knew. I like to shout out Paul Bryan, who owns Bryan Bookstores.
Yes.
He taught me at UTech entrepreneurial development, and he saw it in me too. Yes. Even from then, I reached out to him, and he's like, oh, you're ready to be an entrepreneur, and I told you had it in you all along. I was like, I know, but I just wasn't ready yet, because I knew I had it in me too, but I wasn't ready yet. And he was one of my earliest mentors. Then came Lenny Little White, who does the Actor Boy Awards. He was a mentor of ours as well, still is. And then now fast forward, we have Michael Leachin in our corner and Butch Hendrickson. I've always believed in having mentors guiding you along the way. So, I mean, business can be different, but the framework of it is pretty much the same.
Yeah. But tell us a little bit about the art behind the jewelry. Is it like a story that is being told? Like, how do you come up with? There's
always a story. When it comes to art, for me, I'm inspired by meeting people, travel.
Yeah.
I meet my sisters, especially. Not only her, but we have a little sister, right?
A young
sister. But they inspire me as well.
Yeah.
And my love for fashion again. I get growing up around my mother, who did, was a seamstress. And just loving anything unique, that's different.
Because I'm looking at that piece on your finger.
Yeah.
You see that?
Yeah.
Those are nails.
Yeah.
How you came up with that?
Well, when my student did this. So I lecture part-time at end of Monday.
Yeah.
And so my student, again, I give them the freedom to create.
That's so cool.
Yeah, so this is the
That's very cool.
That's art.
Yeah. And just being different.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about theatre, because I know you're a part of the pantomime, and you help us ably, with our set design and our costumes and so on. How did you get there, and how has it been for you?
Well, like Teasea had mentioned before, like growing up there with our parents. I mean, she probably never mentioned, but we were related to Louise Bennett, the Honorable Louise Bennett. So art is in our bloodline. We can't escape it. So we grew up around theatre, we grew up around the arts, we grew up around music. We're in a home that's filled with art. And so for me, coming to the pantomime was almost like creme de la creme. Like, it is the...
But you started on the stage, Duane.
Yes.
Schoolers, I think it was...
Oh,
was that?
Hilarious. I love everything.
Duane, you were a kid, you were a student.
But you never have much to say. But
you
was so hilarious.
Yeah, so funny.
I love putting myself out there. I love anything I love finding a community of people that's like-minded, and not being around you guys are just like, it's like home away from home.
Yeah.
That for me felt like home. Again, the sets and theatre for me is telling a story. Just like with my pieces. Whenever I show a collection, whether it's here or overseas, from start to end is always a storytelling. So that's how I view pantomime and how the stories unfold on stage.
How do you keep Rêve global but still remain authentic? Is it hard to do that?
Just listen to yourself. Listen to your inner guts and follow that. I've always been one who's just, I don't pay attention to the noise. I stay true to who I am. I don't need anybody to validate who I am. I know who I am. And so I stay true to that DNA.
Yeah.
Once you stay true to yourself, and because people will steer you wrong. People will tell you, oh, no, you're not going to do it. I mean, we've got a lot of that, right?
Yeah.
It's like I'm starting up, it's going to fail, it's not going to happen, people are not going to believe in it. So just stay true to who you are, and just,
I think, to answer that question on my end as well, I love being Jamaican, and I feel like when I'm abroad, it's like I'm representing not just myself, but I'm presenting the best of my family, the best of my nation. And I think brand Jamaica is something that we at home do not recognize the value of it. I really don't think we do understand the power that it brings. And I remember even living in France, like I'd go to the supermarket and trying to get personal stuff, and people trying to stop me. Oh, I hear, you know, you're the Jamaican girl. And like, they got really excited just to talk to me.
Yeah.
And I don't smoke or drink, but they just want to smoke around me. That was so funny. I'm looking at them like, okay.
Jamaican?
Yeah, they just want to hang out with a Jamaican. Like, all you know.
Smoke.
Girl, I'm going to tell you, yeah, man. Irie man, no problem.
We don't say that.
So, yeah, we actually do. So, when I was trying not to say it, but I mean, it's just that I didn't really realize. And I remember, I have articles in France that, I remember one article came out, there was, the title was Teasea du Soleil de Jamaïque, which is the son of Jamaica. And I'm like, what is this excitement? All I did was like show up, you know, but because I didn't live in Paris, I lived in the outskirts in a place called Pampol, in a city named Rêve. And people, I guess, were really excited to have a Jamaican, a black woman among them. But I've always felt like I'm representing that, and I fell in love more with what makes us so unique.
Yeah.
So I think Duane has a very strong idea of that as well. And so on the business end of it, whereas pretty much I control that part and give my brother the freedom to explore and to be inspired by the things that rocks his world. I think together we really make a good partnership in terms of building our company and being very mindful of that, because we're unapologetic. Our vision and our mission is to be a world-renowned brand from Jamaica and particularly the Caribbean, authentic for unique, handmade, bold pieces that help women express their personal style and feel more confident.
Nice.
So we're very clear about that.
Have you ever had a moment where somebody would come and say, but this looks like foolishness, this doesn't look good?
All the time, girl, all the time. Especially in the beginning. I used to get very offended when we became the first space, and I remember the late Honorable Edward Seaga's wife, his second wife, she was the one I used to supply her store, because our business model was we met the stuff, we supplied the stores, and so I was always fascinated at people like going crazy over the stuff. And she said to me, you need your own space. Your brother is too talented to be just selling in other people's spaces. And I was like, no, I'm not too ready for that yet. And she was like, stop speaking like that. Like, she really whipped me into place, you know. And I would supply the high-end stores like Strawberry Hill. I was supplying her store. And she was like, yeah, you need to have your own space. And so when we finally opened our own space, which has been there, we're still there, Devon House. We opened January 2029, I will never forget. And 2009, sorry. And people would come into the space and they're like, but them somebody looks African. Some people. Them somebody look African. Them somebody look weird.
But you know,
what is?
Because I was doing stuff like Akiseed, Driftwood.
We still do. But when people came into the space, I used to get so offended because my thing, I was so clear, and then still I'm very clear about our vision and our mission. I was like, this is high-end though. What's wrong with these people? And like being in Paris and everywhere, I'm like, what is wrong with? I'm like, we want to be the Coco. We're positioning ourselves to be the Coco Chanel of the Caribbean.
Yeah.
How can you not see this? And then after I recognized that actually it was not an insult. They were helping me to define my brand DNA. Because when I heard the feedback and the people who do appreciate our pieces, as you rightfully said, it's wearable art. And so the women who resonate, that space helped us to realize that we're more than just jewelry and wearable art. It's literally a life brand, like a lifestyle brand that breathes life into people. I remember I said to my brother, I want to go and do a counseling thing, and he laughed me to scorn because I'm such an empath. But the women who come into that space, like we have from judges to, we have high profile women to business women to average working class women. We have women who have kids who grew up wanting to aspire to have a piece, and they'll come and they're like, you know, I saw you in the 6C book, and I saw you on TV when I was little, and I'm like, damn, I'm getting old, like, because they'll come and give us this experience, and their joy was to come in and buy something, and I was like, wow, so it's like second generation. I'm like, we're actually doing what we're clear about, you know, and that filled my cup, and it really helped me to refine what it is that we're doing. And so we can be unapologetic in whatever space we are, whether Duane was invited to London Fashion Week or New York Fashion Week.
I was gonna ask about that.
Yeah, like we can hold space in that place, you know, unapologetically so.
How was that experience though, New York Fashion Week?
For me, it's mind-blowing.
Yeah.
When we, you know, young people was young, we used to watch people on TV
New
like,
York Fashion Week.
and we used to come across people like Kelly Rowland, who would want stuff for us, you know. Mia Long. I mean, these are people you watch on TV, you never know.
They would wear your jewelry.
It's like Janet Jackson, you're just like,
what?
It's like a dream. It definitely feels like Rêve.
Yeah. But so next New York Fashion Week, Fabenelle and myself, because we're wearing these.
Yeah, man.
You can just take us.
And so they could extend the invitation.
Yeah,
man.
So what's new? Is there anything new?
There's always something new.
Yeah.
There's always something new. I get bored easily. So my mind is always on the spectrum that's moving, ticking. But New York
You
Fashion
can't
Week,
utter artist that. So in terms of the business part of it.
In terms of the business.
So right now I'm going through a lot of like a metamorphosis, if you want to use that word, in terms of personally, and it's really tested us. The pandemic tested us a lot of things. We've definitely we've restructured, and we are restructuring our business model. I don't want to sound too fancy about it, but one of the things that my current mentors really helped me to refine is the philanthropical part of our business. So we've had a track record. We started in 2012 and was very active before I became a mommy. But like up to 2018, collectively over that time, we raised over $10,000 US in cash and kind, and we sponsored like different local charities, including the Jamaica Cancer Society that would pay for women to go and get their stuff done, pap smears or whatever. We've donated to the Mona School of Hope. We've paid for kids through the Reach One Foundation, which is founded by Oraine Anderson, where Duane sits on the board. Duane is very busy, right? And we go around with her to different schools across the island, and we help to find children that, they're from very poor families but very bright kids with a bright future, and we pay for them to go to school for the year. So like each year we try to do that. And so I remember Mr. Hendrickson, when I met him, because he has a wonderful program called The Bold Ones, National Bakery. Eat National Bull a year. That's all I'm gonna say. Very good people. And he's like, Teasea, why you don't have why you don't formalize? I said, sir, when I reach like you, I do this every now and then. It's a struggle because we don't have the resources, we don't have the human power to pitch this every year. It's a lot of work, and we do it because it's a part of our mission. We want to contribute to our community and stuff. He's like, yeah, but you need to formalize it. I'm like, yeah. And he's like, oh, you don't believe me? And he literally, he made an injection of the sum of what, about 3 million, 3.5? Angel investment into our company. He contributed to 20 by 40 metal containers that was partially refurbished already, and we were able to really refine the Rêve Foundation, and we're in the process of launching that now, where our mandate is still going to be looking at youth and especially marginalized women, because I honestly believe I have a strong passion. Duane is passionate about the arts. I'm very passionate about women in business, and especially entrepreneurs. So I support other women in business. And so a part of the plan with that space, I cannot wait to unveil it. But we got a grant fund from the UNESCO program. I think there were 3 companies awarded. We're one of them. And so we've refurbished the space, and Duane is going to be training these young people and women who want to learn, and they're going to be a part of our production, but and they'll be paid a stipend to work in the space and to learn a craft. So our brand has actually now really become a more holistic brand that will incorporate our community, and so that's what we're working on. It's been very slow moving. God is teaching me a lot of lessons with this.
But that's fine. What I'm happy about though
is
that you're hearing that for the first time on Theatre Talk.
Yes.
Cop that.
I know. So our social impact, we're very, very excited about, really remodeling our business to really tie closer what we're very passionate about. And it's about Jamaica and about our community, and especially in light of all the things that have been happening to us as a nation. Like, we all feel it. And we all have to play our part. So we're looking forward to unveiling that chapter of our business.
I see, girl.
We have our segment, where we have some fun. We kind of
we'll shift things up a little bit. And we break
out, right?
We break
so this is called Who is More Likely to? You probably see it on TikTok. So siblings edition, right? So I'm gonna ask you a few questions, and you just don't overthink. Just laugh, point, and tell the truth. You understand? Just tell the truth. So, who is more likely to be late?
Whoa.
Wow.
No, hold on. Before doing pointing in her eyes.
We're not to follow with us.
Oh crap.
Do we never even think about it?
No.
And she will get better though. I get better. I'm proud of myself.
Alright. Who is more likely to break something and blame the other person?
Are you doing it? Too good. I'm very responsible. You.
Somebody that telling the
She's
truth.
taking a responsible vibe for sure.
Yeah. She give me more, you know.
Me tell the beat and doing the guide.
Who is more likely to win an argument and still be wrong? Yeah.
Rob.
We believe that. We believe that. I believe that too.
Or who is more likely to start a sibling rivalry or some argument over something insignificant?
Not doing it. That's a girl thing. Oh God, I'm such a
Teasea,
girl.
why are you being blamed for everything?
I know.
Teasea, you're the problem. You understand?
Yeah, you're the
problem. Who is more likely to forget a birthday and try to fix it with a big gift?
Oh no.
When I think we're not gonna forget.
No way.
No.
Mom always give nice gift. Tell the truth.
That's true. Yeah.
Alright, so and I have a feeling who is going to be this one now. Who is more likely to cry and be emotional during a movie?
The two of you.
I thought it would have been the way creative.
Right.
So you know volleyball.
You feel
feeling.
Football man.
Both of us guilty of that.
Alright, lastly, who is more likely to spend the most money in one day?
You know what I'm talking
Responsibly. Responsibly.
No, I have a last one and I know exactly who is this
How much
one.
last one you have?
No, this is the last one. Who is more likely to be the family spokesperson
I know this.
in large gatherings?
I know this. Come
Yeah,
on.
we know, yeah.
Like doing.
Come on.
Oh my God, this thing is targeted. I feel very no.
It's
that's
obvious.
not right.
Podcast land, it's obvious, right?
I told her myself, didn't I? That's not right.
But this was really good, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank
So
you for having
tell
us.
podcast land where they can find Rêve Jewellery again, please.
Well, please join our community and be a part. Join our community and be a part of we call our community revelers. We love our island, we love our country, we love our people. I think our pieces resonates with that, and I'm so happy about this new chapter that we're unleashing. So you can follow our community, Rêve Jewellery, REVE, Jewellery spelled the British way, JEWELLERY. We are physically located at Devon House. We're online, revjewellery.online. And yeah, just join us on
Check out the
YouTube,
piece. Yeah, and
IG, all that stuff.
When I see the things then, I up our Rêve.
Upper Rev.
Nobody asks for no
Yeah.
foolishness. You understand?
High class thing.
Yeah.
Come on.
Come on now. Thank you so much for
Thank
joining
you so much for having
and
us.
sharing.
It's so beautiful.
And
Thank you.
remember to check out the pantomime.
Right.
Big Yard Vibes.
Yes.
Again.
Big Yard Vibes.
Yeah.
Every week we're selling the same thing.
Saturday, 2 p.m. Sunday, 4:30.
Every weekend up until May.
Like, share, subscribe, comment. Tell a friend, tell a friend, tell a next friend.
And tell the other one.
All right.
And then make that one tell
And
the other one.
support the team.
Yeah, man. Walk
Yeah?
good.
Walk good.
Cue the drama.
Lights, camera,
Theater talk.